Good morning, everyone. Is everybody okay? Everybody here and accounted for? Nobody fell off the planet? We're all okay, right? Even though the United States held an election last week, we're all okay, aren't we? We made it through. Whew. It was kind of a roller coaster, maybe a lot of emotions and such, but we made it through. And we come here this morning to remember who we are and to remember what we're here to do. We come here to ground our consciousness in what is really important. So let's put things in perspective, shall we? Let's take a look at the bigger picture. This is no, Kathy, the world didn't turn upside down. That's upside down. You gotta turn that around there. Okay, there we go. This is a picture of the world map, and right there, I guess it's not going to show up, but you can see the United States. Wow, it looks kind of small compared to South America there, doesn't it? And wow, Africa, that's huge, isn't it? So it seems kind of small. But anyway, the population of the United States is 320 million people. The population of the world is 7.2 billion people. So that means that the population of the United States is about 4, maybe 5% of the world's population. Seems kind of small, doesn't it? Let's zoom out a little bit. This is a picture of our solar system. And right almost in the center is our sun. And of course, the first planet revolving around the sun is Mercury. And then the second one is Venus. And the third rock from the sun is planet Earth. Looks kind of small there, especially when you see all the other planets with their moons and their asteroids and meteoroids. And it's a big solar planet, and Earth looks kind of small there, doesn't it? Let's zoom out a little bit more. This is our galaxy. This is the Milky Way galaxy, and our sun is one of 200, maybe 400 billion stars in our galaxy. And right at the very end of that red tip there, that's where we live. Looks kind of small, doesn't it? But that's our galaxy. And, our galaxy is just one of billions of galaxies in the universe. Scientists are now saying that our universe might not be the only universe. That there could possibly be an infinite number of universes out there. So rather than living in a universe, we actually live in a multiverse. Amazing to think about it. Seems kind of small in comparison to the immensity of this thing we call life, I guess you could call it that. We're small, but not insignificant. And get this. Scientists are now saying that 96, maybe even as much as 99% of the universe is invisible, unseen, the unmanifest. And that makes up 99% of reality. So this other stuff that we're talking about, all these billions of stars and billions of galaxies and universes, maybe even multiverses, is only 1% of reality. Are these proportions kind of blowing you away? It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around the immensity of this thing called life. Well, it is kind of difficult to comprehend, but you can kind of think of it like an iceberg. Not quite, but kind of. But this that's jutting out from the water, that would be the material, physical realm. If we were tooling along here in our rowboat, that would be what we see. This physical universe we're talking about, all the universes and the galaxies with their planets, right on down to us with our pennies in our pocket. That would be the physical material realm, only 1%. And then that which is under the water would be the unseen. It doesn't quite make sense because it would be invisible. But that would be the unseen reality. You see, there's something greater. You can call it the unmanifest, the absolute God, but it is the pure and formless ground of being from which all creation, all manifestation emerges. And it is changeless. We could call it the unmoved mover. And it, my friends, is still changeless. It is unmoved. It is ever present, always powerful. This physical, material experience is just a small part of reality. We're just a small part of reality. We're small, but we're not insignificant. If you were holding a baby in your hands, you wouldn't say, "Oh, you're so small and insignificant." No. You'd say, "You're powerful. Within you is all the infinite possibilities of the universe. Within you is all the potential." Kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? So even though this physical world with its demands seems overwhelming, its needs just scream at you sometimes, like it seemed to last week. These shiny things and glittery things and these loud clanging gongs, they fill up our senses and they take up our time. And they take up our brain space. But that's not where the true power lies, is it? This physical world is nothing compared to the unseen, unmanifest, that which is changeless and ever-present and all-powerful. Beyond the construct, beyond the materialization, beyond what we call matter is what really matters. Pure consciousness. And that's where all creation begins. You're not this physical reality. You're not your body. You're not your conditions. Nor are you the conditions of the world or even the country. You're not your experiences and events. You're not your emotions. You're not even your thoughts. You are pure consciousness in expression. You might be small, but you're not insignificant. You're powerful. Within you is all the potential of the multiverse. Within you are unlimited possibilities. And you have the ability to bring into manifestation the unmanifest in your life and in our world. There's so much that wants to distract us from who we really are and what we're here to do. There's so much that tries to pull us away from what's really important, that wants us to get involved and take up sides and beat the drum and be involved in things that are fleeting and temporary. Concepts, judgments, perceptions, issues, images, icons, idols, stuff and things. But beyond all that is that which lasts, that which enriches you eternally, that which empowers you and your life. And that is your source, God. And if you're grounded in God, really connected with this infinite invisible, really feeling the generous flow of divine energy, that 1% of physical material stuff can't throw you off your center. That which we call matter really doesn't matter when you are connected and feeling that generous flow of divine love. So it kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Here we are in our state, our country, our world, our solar system, our galaxy, our universe, maybe even many universes. And all that's only 1% of reality. And then there's the other 99%, the invisible infinite, the unmanifest, the unmoved mover, changeless, ever-present, and always all-powerful. Let's take a deep breath here, shall we? Let's just breathe that truth in. And remember who we are. And remember what we're here to do. And I remember that my talk title is The 3 Steps of True Prosperity. What does all this have to do with prosperity, true prosperity? Well, first of all, we live in a world of abundance, as that video by Karen Drucker pointed out. We live in a world of abundance. But true prosperity, holistic prosperity, begins with putting things in perspective, with getting a clear focus on things. True prosperity has nothing to do with what's going on in the world around us. True prosperity has nothing to do with what's going to happen, what you fear is going to happen, what you worry about is going to happen. True prosperity isn't about trying to figure things out and considering our options, staring at our to-do list, how are we going to do this, when we're going to do it, and why are we going to do what we think we're supposed to do. Oh, gosh. True prosperity is much, much gentler than that, and it's much more fulfilling. True prosperity, well, when you think of the word prosperous, when most people think of the word prosperous, what do they think of? Money, being successful or fortunate in money. But prosperous applies to anything that's thriving, that's growing, that's blossoming and flourishing and flowing and expanding and progressing. You can have prosperous plants. You can have expanding opportunities for expression. You can have a blossoming relationship, right? Flourishing flowers, la fleur. You hear the word flourish and the word flower? That's what flowers do. They flourish. So anything that is prosperous is what is thriving and growing and flourishing and flowing. And that might be different for you than it is for me. The word prosperity comes from the Latin word prospero, which means according to your highest aspiration. So ask yourself this morning, what is my highest aspiration? What am I here to do? What am I here to create? What am I here to bring into manifestation? What is my highest aspiration? And you know the word aspiration is the noun of the verb aspire. And you can kind of hear it in the word that aspire literally means to breathe into. Prosperity begins with breathing into the feeling of abundance. Prosperity begins with breathing into the feeling of being loved and supported. Breathe that in this morning. Prosperity, true prosperity, begins with breathing into the feeling of health and vitality and vibrancy and energy. Breathe that in this morning. True prosperity begins with breathing into the feeling of beauty and creativity, self-expression and fulfillment. Breathe that in this morning. True prosperity begins with breathing into the feeling of all needs met. True prosperity begins with breathing into the feeling of all desires, your highest aspirations fulfilled. And that is the first step of true prosperity, the feeling step. The first step to true prosperity is feeling and embodying what we talked about last week and what our affirmation for the month says. It's the feeling of the generous flow of divine love in our lives and in the world. In fact, let's say that affirmation, shall we? The affirmation for this month, together we say, I am grateful for the generous flow of divine love in my life and in the world. Just breathe that in as you're saying it. Let's try it again. I am grateful for the generous flow of divine love in my life and in the world. And one more time, are you feeling that divine love, that generous flow of divine love in your life? Because when you begin to feel that, you're going to feel that generous flow of divine love in the world. Let's do it one more time. Breathe it in. I am grateful for the generous flow of divine love in my life and in the world. And let's really breathe that in this morning. So creating true prosperity begins by going within. All creation begins within. All that comes into manifestation begins in that unmanifest, the realm of the infinite invisible that we were talking about earlier, that which is unseen, pure consciousness. So true prosperity, holistic prosperity, begins by getting grounded in God. And Myrtle Fillmore, one of the founders of the Unity movement, said, true prosperity is not making money or putting out goods or developing property. It is determining what our souls require in order to cause them to unfold more of God. We're here to unfold more of God. And determining what our souls need in order to do that means going within. It means getting grounded with God, that infinite invisible from which all creation begins. Going within and really feeling the generous flow of divine love in our lives and in the world. So the first step takes us within. Taking our attention off of that 1% and placing our attention on what is really real, taking our attention off of what is seen and placing our focus on the unseen. So I want to encourage you to be the embodiment of abundance. Be the embodiment of your highest aspiration. Be the embodiment of what you're here to do. Embody the feeling of the truth that there is one power and presence, God the Good. Embody the feeling of the truth that you are one with the source of all good. And then, as you begin to embody that feeling, you're going to begin to make conscious choices according to that truth. Inspiration's going to show up. Hunches and insights and coincidences and dreams and messages and synchronicities are going to show up, and they're all going to lead you into gliding into the second step, which is the thinking step. And then the third step will appear. And I do mean appear, because that's the seeing step. Once you embody this truth that you live in a world of abundance, once you get grounded in God, the source of all good, you're going to make choices based on that truth, and then you're going to look up and you're going to begin to see the manifestation of abundance in your life and in our world. Are you ready to do that this morning? May it be so, and so it is. So let's take a moment to just feel this feeling. And to experience this feeling of breathing into abundance. Just take a moment to ask yourself, what is my highest aspiration? What is my highest aspiration? What am I here to do? What am I here to be? What am I here to create? What am I here to bring into this world? So just take a few deep breaths, and with your attention on your heart, just allow yourself to feel free. Free from any limitation or entanglement. Feel free in your body, your mind, your heart, into the depths of your soul. Breathe that in. Allow yourself to breathe into the feeling of having all needs met. Breathe into the feeling of abundance. Breathe into the feeling of beauty and creativity, expression, and fulfillment. Breathe that in. Breathe into the feeling of vibrancy, energy, vitality. Maybe for you, your highest aspiration is in the area of love. Just breathe in. Lots of love surrounding you. Kindness and hugs and kisses and smiles. I like that kind of prosperous flow, don't you? Breathe that in. Just see and feel yourself as a healthy, prosperous plant. Blooming like a beautiful flower. Feeling good. Feeling energetic and vibrant. And now just silently affirm, I am grateful for the generous flow of divine love in my life and in the world. I can feel it. I am grateful for the generous flow of divine love in my life and in the world. And when you're ready, take a deep breath. And when you're comfortable, you can come back to the room, open your eyes. Here we go. The lights are coming on.